joined with Zach. And day 2 of the NFL draft has wrapped up, and the Bengals have added 2 new rookies, linebacker Demetrius Knight Jr. from South Carolina and guard Dylan Fairchild from Georgia. And so we're going to give you our reactions to those picks and if they were good or not. So before we dive in, Zach, how are you feeling about day 2?
Sorry. I think this was not a great day. First of all, I'm warming up to the Shamar Stewart pick. Last night when we talked, I wasn't thrilled about it. I still think it wasn't the best pick, but I'm a little bit warmed up. I'm warming up a little bit more to it, so I'll start with saying that. But today was, I don't think, very good. I don't think this has been a very good draft, and that's not good because we're just going to waste Burrow and Chase's prime. But I don't think today was that good. It sounds like Knight is a good player. It sounds like he was one of the better players on the defensive side for South Carolina, which is great. But he's 25, and he's a guy that we easily could have gotten in the third, maybe even a little later. This just seems like it was a significant reach. When you had guys like Mike Green somehow still on the board, and Tate Ratledge also, and Xavier Watts. So there were big name players that I think would have been able to come in and make more of an impact for us that we just passed up on. For a guy who is a solid starter at South Carolina and is 25 years old, I don't like that pick. I don't like it. I know Al Golden said that he likes him, and he thinks that he likes him because he thinks he complements Logan Wilson very well at linebacker spot. So, I think it's filling a need. I just don't think it's filling the biggest need. And I think that this is a pick that we could have made in the third or even fourth round. I just think this was a significant reach with better players on the board. So I'm not a fan of that pick. Don't like that one really much at all, to be truthfully honest with you. And then looking at the third round pick, I'm always an offensive line guy, specifically for the Bengals because I would like to keep Joe Burrow in the land of the living. So I'm always for offensive line guys. So I'm not going to really complain very much about this pick. This pick needed to happen. If we weren't going to go offensive guard in the second round, we needed to go guard in the third. So I don't really have a lot of complaints for that pick. My only complaint would once again just be we should have took Tate Ratledge in the second because I think that he was the better guard, and we had the chance to take him. But yeah. I'm not going to complain as much about the third round pick because I think that he was a decent player at a position of need, and I think that a third round pick on him in that situation made sense. So I don't hate that one as much, but it's really for me the second round pick. I'm not a fan of that second round pick. I don't think that was a very good pick.
Yeah, before we dive into kind of Demetrius Knight, we'll start with him and the player he is. I just want to talk about what from the press conferences and stuff, what the Bengals saw in him. So I'll read some quotes. You kind of alluded to this earlier, but Zach said that he felt like it was like when they drafted Logan Wilson a couple years ago. They think that he's going to walk in the door. He's mature, a leader, and that a lot of people they talked to said that he was one of their favorite guys to be around. He said he's a tremendous communicator. And that he's a leader, which seems like something that they value very highly. Al Golden said that this guy's hard to find. They don't make them this long. He's got enough length to go to the edge. If you go to a 5-down look, that's a pivotal piece for us just as a competitor. Yeah, it sounds like Golden is really high on him, and he had a lot of good stuff to say about him. And so, looking at Demetrius Knight, he obviously linebacker for South Carolina. He's 6'2", 245, but like you said, he is a bit on the older side. He is, what did you say, 25?
I believe he's 25.
Yeah. So he ran a 4.58, 31-inch vertical, 9.10 broad jump. He's got 32 and 5/8 arms. So, but if you look at his PFF grades, they're not bad. He had a 74 PFF grade against the run, 84.4 in coverage, and 74.9 as a pass rusher. So I think the big thing with him is he's going to fill the Jermaine Pratt role. He's a Jermaine Pratt replacement. I'm pretty sure that's his pro comp is Jermaine Pratt. He's just going to be a guy that they hope and think day one can come in, be a vocal leader in the middle of that linebacking core, in the middle of the defense. And it's just due to his experience and everything, it's just going to be a guy that they think you can just plug and play in that linebacker right next to Logan Wilson. They think he can fit seamlessly with him, kind of in that opposite backer role. And Logan can do more of the pass coverage duties, while Knight will have more of the rushing run game opportunities. And he's a very good tackler, which is something that Jermaine Pratt has struggles with. So getting a sure tackler in the middle is definitely good. But I do think it was a reach. I had him as like a third-round player. I think there were talks heading into the draft that they were looking to trade down. And I'm pretty sure teams right in front and below them traded down. So I think they definitely, if they would have traded down, gained an extra couple of picks, drafted him, I would have felt a lot better about it. But yeah, like you said, with guys like Ratledge and Mike Green and Xavier Watts and Kevin Winston and those type of guys, I would have preferred those guys better. I think those guys would come in and be like better players at positions of need. I do think Demetrius Knight's a great player. It was just a little high for me. And I really think this has just been a common theme that we've talked about here on this show, that it just goes to show when you don't address your needs in free agency, it spills into the draft and it forces you to take positions rather than players. And you leave guys on the table who are better players, but because we literally only have Logan Wilson on the team as a linebacker, it was such a pressing need that they felt like they had to reach to get a linebacker in. And so I think it's just the lack of movement in free agency to really round this team out, so that coming into the draft, you can just draft like BPA or get guys that you feel okay going into the season with, but you would like to upgrade. But with guard and linebacker, like we don't have a right guard, or we don't have a second linebacker. So you had to draft those early, and that means overdrafting. And that, I think it's been a common theme that we've talked about, and that's exactly what happened. Is due to their lack of movement in free agency, it kind of forced their hand to draft guys a little bit higher than they should have or needed to.
Yeah, it's very frustrating because we've hounded on this point since we started doing this show. And I think that the Bengals offseason so far this year is really a perfect example of that point. You have, I mean, when you're when you are a team that is in the position that the Bengals are, you've got to go out and fill these guys in free agency, because that puts you in a position. I mean, look at the Bears. I mean, the Bears filled every hole that they had through free agency, through the draft last year, and they hit on previous picks. Now they went and plugged the rest of those holes in free agency, and now for this year, they were set up to literally take BPA in pretty much every round. And they're going to get playmakers, and they're going to get guys that are going to come in and boost their team because of that. It's just so frustrating when you put yourself behind the eight ball in a position where you need to aggressively reach and overdraft. Because I'll tell you what, Demetrius Knight's a good player. This is a guy we easily could have gotten third. I mean, yeah, this was an overdraft, and I know Zach Taylor came out and said like, yeah, I feel like we did in 2020 when we brought Logan Wilson in. Well, guess what? We picked him in the third round. Like this was a bad reach. I'm sorry, it was. I Even if you are dead set on taking this dude in the second round, trade down several picks, like you said, and acquire more selections. At least do that, for goodness sakes. Because, I mean, I guarantee you we could have got this guy in the third. So if you are dead set on him in the second, then trade down 5 picks or something and get more picks and get him in the second still. Because he would have been there. I guarantee you that. And I'm not saying anything wrong about him. You know, we will welcome him as a Bengal, but it was just I don't like the move from the position of the Bengals. I don't like this move. It was just too much of a reach.
Yeah, I think with if they would have gone back, gained a couple more picks because they only have 6 in this draft because they traded their 7th for Khalil Herbert. So getting extra picks, which Stu Tobin has said has been something they've been trying to do, which I'm sure they probably have, just nothing has really worked. But I would have felt if Knight was their guy and they were like after yesterday, they were like, if he's here, like we're taking him, no doubt. Um, just looking at the guys on the board, there were a lot of guys that people were saying were either high end second round picks or perennial first rounders that were still, on the board. And so I'm sure somebody would want to trade up to get Tate Ratledge, to get a Xavier Watts, somebody like that, to get a Mike Green. I guarantee you somebody would trade up to get a Mike Green.
Yeah,
and then you feel better about him. But I think the thing that makes everything worse is, which seems to be a common theme, is that you have the division outside of the Bengals drafts very well,
very very well
for the most part.
The Browns have got the Michigan lineman. He's a stud in the first round. They went right back and got Quinshon Judkins. That's a great pick. You got the Ravens getting Malachi Starks and Mike Green. I mean, I don't really know that the
Steelers got Derek Harmon and Caleb Johnson.
Yeah,
so they filled 2 holes.
Those are 2 solid picks too. I mean, it's frustrating because, I mean, the Ravens particularly, they usually have lower picks than we do, and they always draft better than us. Like, what? I don't understand what we're doing. Like, everything that we do, from free agency to the draft, everything we do, I would do it the opposite way. Like it's very frustrating to sit there and watch how this team is ran when it's ran so poorly, and I would do everything just completely differently. From free agency to how we pay our players, to how we draft, to our scouting department. Like I would do everything differently. So it's very frustrating to watch this, and we never succeed either. So clearly, the way they do crap is not working. I won't go off on my rant here.
But said it too many times.
It's every time we come on here, it always gets back to the fact that our franchise is putrid and it needs to rerun differently, because it's really the root of the problem. At the end of the day, that's the issue. But it's just mind blowing. Truly, I mean, I was talking to one of my friends he's also a big Bengals fan, and we were watching the draft together, and we saw the Bengals make that pick, and we both just look at each other and we're just like, what are we doing? Like, I mean, and I told him, I'm like, dude, like, I swear we're just like, we are trying to be bad, like. Like everything that we do, it's just like it genuinely seems like we're trying to be bad. Like, what, and yeah, I'm not happy.
Yeah.
No offense to Knight. I'm sure he's a great player, and hopefully he comes in and makes and he fills the role for us and he turns into a great player. I truly wish the best for him because that would be great for us if that happened. But I just from the Bengals standpoint, this is why.
Yeah, we're hoping that we're wrong and he comes in and is a day one starter and is a really productive player and
Yeah,
kind of pans out.
but it's just like I'm tired of taking these guys where it's like, oh my gosh, I hope he turns out well. When you've got guys on the board that you just turn on their tape and you know this is a good football player. Like you don't like stop overthinking this. Draft the guy who has proven he's a good player. Like I mean, I don't care. I don't care how big or tall or fast or strong or whatever he is. Like turn the tape on and say, hey, this guy is really good at football and he's on the board. Well, I'm going to take him. And yeah, uh, that was mainly an argument for the first round, I guess. But
Yeah, well, I feel like recently they've been drafting a lot of projects and not a lot of
yeah, you don't have time
proven
for
guys.
projects. Like Burrow and Chase are in their prime now. We need to win now. We don't have time for projects. And I mean, I don't know. Maybe Knight is not a project because he is 25, so he might be a plug and play player, and I hope he is. But I just But even with that, it was still a reach. We could have got him 5 or 6 picks late. We could have got him in the third round probably. But I mean, Duke Tobin says he wants to get more picks, and yeah, that's great. We need more picks. We only have 6 picks, but like, it's like surely we could have got a deal done with somebody to trade down several spots. Like you said, Mike Green and Xavier Watts. Like there were several guys who were high second, even first round graded talents that were still on the board. So you cannot tell me that there's no way we could have traded down. Like I just that's just really surprising to me. If we made calls and nobody was like, no, we're not, like we don't want to move up. That is surprising to me. And if they did, well then yeah, that's surprising. But I surely we could have traded back.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's move on to the third round pick, Dylan Fairchild. He's 6'5", 315, 21 years old from Georgia. 2-year starter at left guard who had an 89.2 pass block grade across the past 2 seasons. He has a really high floor, and I think, Dan Pritchard said that he will be battling for that left guard spot day one, which is good. So he said left guard is absolutely his to win. So he's been compared to Wyatt Teller, who had a good solid NFL career, and I'm pretty sure he has ties um, with our new interior or our new O line coach Scott Peters. I'm pretty sure yeah. So at Georgia, they use the same like system that Peters invented, and so I think he's like a wrestler, which obviously Peters likes because he's like a big MMA like Taekwondo dude. So it sounds like this was kind of a Scott Peters pick. This was a guy that he liked a lot. He played with Amarius Mims, so
Yeah.
they have the chemistry there. They said they already talked. He said, "That's my dog," so they're probably excited. Um, and so I think he's a good player. I mean, I really haven't watched much of his tape, but from everything that I've heard, he's got good size. He's got uh, good hands, good foot quickness. Um, I mean, if he only allowed 1 sack in the last 2 years and had an 89 pass grade at Georgia against some of these high-powered SEC linemen, I'm fine with that. And if he obviously is familiar with the system that Scott Peters is wanting to implement, and he'll have chemistry with Mims, and Mims can probably show him the ropes. yeah, I'm hoping that he can be a guy that can come in day one and be a starting guard for us, and that's what the Bengals are hoping as well. So I'm more happy about that pick than I was the Knight pick.
Yeah.
Um, but again, like it goes back to the same the same thing where you could have gotten, like, let me see who was still on the board. Um, like
We're just like,
Kevin Winston was there. I really liked him. Um, I'm pretty sure, yeah, Xavier Watts was still there. Um, like Wyatt Millum, we had mocked them.
yeah,
Um, so there was a couple guys that like I might have rather had, but I mean they had to draft a guard in their first 3 rounds. If they didn't, then that was going to be a big problem.
yeah,
And so I think with that being considered, passing on Ratledge and all that stuff, I'm not overly upset about the Fairchild trade or Fairchild pick.
yeah.
From all indications, he seems like a pretty good player. So hopefully, as long as he can, keep Joe Burrow upright and be better than Alex Capo was, then I think that's a win.
Yeah, yeah. I don't. I'm not going to complain about this pick really that much. He seems like he's a pretty solid player. And like you said, we don't. I mean, we just need a solid guy. So, I'm not going to complain about this pick too much. I mean, if you're coming from Georgia, you're playing like the highest level of competition. Um, I'm always up for Georgia offensive and defensive linemen. Amarius Mims turned out really well for us last year. That was a great pick. Obviously, they played together at Georgia, so they got a connection. And then, like you said, he's a 2-year starter through the SEC with um, a very high grade. So I'm not going to complain about this pick really that much. Like you said, just to continuously beat a ridiculously dead horse. If we would, if we would have, set ourselves up through free agency better, then maybe we could have taken Xavier Watts here, but we didn't. And as I said, that horse is dead, and it will never come back to life, probably. So I, all things considered, I like this pick. I think it's a pretty good pick.
Yeah,
So I mean, he seems like he's really excited to come to Cincinnati too. I mean, he was saying like it's the biggest honor of my life to be able to guard for Joe Burrow. So, I mean, seems like he's really excited to come into town and get to work. He's got Amarius Mims here, so that'll kind of help him more of a seamless transition into the NFL, I think, and um, hopefully it's a good fit with Scott Peters and what he's wanting to kind of implement and change with the run scheme a little bit, maybe. So, I would say I'm more excited about this pick than I am the second round pick. I don't have too many complaints here. I mean, really, like I said and like you said, the only thing that I would complain about with this pick is just the fact that if we would have set ourselves up better before the draft, then we might have been able to take a better value pick on the defensive side here. But yeah, once again, like I said, all things considered, I like this pick. I think.
yeah, I agree. Before we sign off quickly, I want to just highlight some other positions of needs that I think they should look at in the next 3 rounds. Um, I think they still can go safety. I think defensive tackle is still a big need. I think I wouldn't be upset if they added another offensive lineman. And then I think I've seen a lot of people say that they're going to go running back as well. So I'd probably say defensive tackle would probably be safety. Defensive tackle would probably be highest, and then guard, like offensive line, and then running back. I think could be in play as well.
Yeah, I think in my opinion, at this point, it's really just, um, I think double downing at the positions we already took. Honestly, I mean, well, and defensive tackle, like you said, I would love another D tackle, or I would love a D tackle. I would love to get another guard. I think that would always be helpful to stack up on offensive linemen. But we only have 6 picks, so I think I think with our last three, you're looking at. Honestly, I don't think we need a running back. I have said that before. I don't think we need a running back here. Chase Brown had a breakout year. He's a stud. We're bringing Zach Moss back. We signed Samaje Perine to come back to Cincy. We got three guys back there. We don't need a running back. I'm sorry. I would not draft a running back here. I would use my last three picks on probably a defense. I'll say defensive lineman because I think it would help to get another. I think it would help to double dip at edge, but we could also use the interior. So I'm just going to say defensive line for one or two picks, and then I would say a safety would be my guys. That would probably be the routes that I would go, and then like I said, guard if you want to double dip at guard. So maybe you go like. I would say either you go edge guard safety or D tackle guard safety. That would probably be my vote because I mean I know a vast majority of people are saying running back. I don't know why. I don't think we need a running back. I mean, as much as I would have loved to have had Travion Henderson, I mean we don't need a running back. So I don't really know where that's coming from. I mean I don't really see why we need to have four guys in the backfield, especially when Chase Brown is our clear bell cow. I don't know. Do you think we get a running back?
I think it wouldn't hurt because this is one of the deepest running back classes in recent memory, and Samaje Perine and Zach Moss will not be on the team a year from now.
Yeah.
And so getting a guy who can take some carries off, because I don't think Chase Brown's a guy who's going to get 20 carries a game, 25 carries a game. And so getting maybe just like a power back that can pass block and kind of be more of a bruiser guy, be kind of like our David Montgomery to Jahmyr Gibbs type guy.
Yeah.
I don't think would be a bad idea, and especially just because the only reason I'm saying draft the running back is due to just how deep this running back class is. Like it's
Yeah.
very talented, and so.
But my question is, if we really think that it's necessary to draft a running back, then why in the world did we bring in Samaje Perine and keep Zach Moss? Because Zach Moss, we could have cut him and saved what, $5 or $6 million?
Yeah, well, I think we restructured his deal,
Oh,
so we
okay.
saved some money. I think.
Yeah, but we could have saved probably more by just cutting him if we were going to go this route. And with Samaje Perine, I can't remember what we gave him. It was a couple million. I mean, we like it's not like these two guys were like big cap casualties or anything. But if we were going to go out and draft a running back, then we should have just not signed one of those two players, in my opinion, and put that money towards Trey Hendrickson or something else. So yeah, I mean, if I'm the Bengals personally, I'm not going running back here. I think that's a need that you can address next year. Running back, I think I feel that running back is a fairly easier position to address than the other needs that we have. But that's just me, I guess.
That's fair. I see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens. Hopefully, they have a better day 3 than they did day 2, and maybe I don't know. Maybe this draft will round out and it'll look a little bit better than it does now.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll
Okay.
see what happens. But that's gonna wrap it up for us tonight. Thank you all for watching. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe if you did, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.